Hey folks, it's your boy Iceberg Bricks, and welcome to another edition of On the Icebox. My guest, it's funny thing is because I was a fan of hers and didn't even really know her, and I ran into her at Bricks Cascade and never knew that she was the artist of Monorail City. I was all over Instagram and loving the Monorail City. It was on Beyond the Brick and everything, and I feel so foolish because I met the person. Would you believe that? Pam, do you believe that?
I have to believe it. You're telling me, Mel.
It's so foolish. It's just, I think sometimes mocks don't have faces to them or even to them. And it's you're running to somebody that you would say hello to. Hey, look, I appreciate XYZ. And when you did XYZ, I really, felt the essence, coming through the table. And I couldn't say any of that because, but I met you.
Yeah. I could tell you a really quick funny story about that. Yeah. I was actually in London with my older son, not with Austin. And we went into the Lego store there, and I wanted to do the brand new machine they have, the mosaic machine. Mm-hmm. And so I'm waiting there. You go through the whole thing, and then you have to wait for it to come out. And the guy's kind of just chatting with me, mm-hmm. and he says, "Boy, you seem to be way more excited to be here than your son." And I'm like, "Well," I said, "I actually do Lego building with my other son, my younger son, who's not here." And he said, "Wait a minute, hold on." He said, "Did you guys do Monorail City?" And mm-hmm. I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I just saw you on the Beyond the Brick, and I love that mock." And I was in London.
Right. That is amazing.
I know, right? Crazy.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Your mocks or pictures of your mocks travel further than you sometimes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You just don't know. Yeah. So the $1 million question is how did you get into Lego, and how old were you?
Well, I did play with Lego as a kid. My sister and I had Lego, but it was bricks. That's all we had. It was just 2x4 and 1x2 and 1x1. I don't remember all the sizes that we had, but we didn't have anything else. So I did have a period where I played with Lego. I had a very long, dark period.
Okay.
Very long. And then as I've mentioned earlier, my youngest son, Austin, he, I think, got his first set at 6 years old. Mm-hmm. Never had a dark age. He's 20 now. He was just really into it.
Okay.
From the beginning, he would take the sets apart and build other things. And so then it just escalated from there. And then the first time he wanted to go to a convention and build something, mm-hmm. I helped him do that. And then that was kind of his path. And then I felt like I just started spending all my time helping him with that. We were always going to the Lego store to buy a brick. I was always on Bricklink trying to get, you know what I mean? It just was this huge time suck for me. And all of a sudden I just said, wait a second. Can I do this with you? Could we do this together? Could I help? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I got back into it.
Okay, great. So, I'm a fan, just like a lot of other people. And but what's next for Pam? What's next for Pam and Lego? What's your next big adventure?
Well, Austin and I started another big mock this summer.
Oh.
And we were hoping to have it done and take it to Seattle, BrickCon.
Okay.
Of course, as you know, apparently we're not having any more, conventions in person. So
right.
Yeah, we kind of got sidetracked. I hope that we do finish it. Kind of sitting over there halfway done. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. And then in terms of me doing another personal project, I guess I haven't really picked one yet. I was kind of busy working on that one, and it kind of remains to be seen.
Okay. Good deal. Now, do you allow to others to see your building process as you're building up?
So our thing has always been to be super top secret.
Okay.
And I don't know. It's just something that we kind of started from the beginning, which we just didn't really tell anybody what we were doing. And it was, I don't know, it was kind of exciting to show up at a convention and nobody knew what we were bringing, and so we would just bring it, and then it was introduced to the world. And I think we're still sort of following that because we haven't posted any progress on what we've been doing so far.
Okay. So when you build, and I say work, I mean, how do you describe your Lego signature? How would you describe your Lego work?
Well, I think a lot of people like to stay in the same theme, but in terms of what I've done by myself and with Austin, I've just been more about what do we want to do.
Okay.
Like I don't care what theme it is. What is grabbing our attention. If that makes sense. And one of the really big things we've always had for all the big things we've done together is we always have a storyline.
Okay.
So we kind of make up this mythical storyline, and then that helps direct where we're going to go.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I don't know if we really have a signature, except, well, with him, it's been large. That's been our signature. And for myself, it's definitely smaller and just, what I want to do.
Okay, good deal. Do you belong to any Lego groups or any lugs?
I would say we're very poor members of Portlug.
Portlug got big bucks.
Yeah, we used to go more often, and then life has just taken us in directions where it just would always be very hard for us to get over there. And I mean, now obviously we can't do it anyway, but in the future, I'd like to get back into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. Now, you have quite a plethora of projects that you accomplished. Which one was your most difficult project?
I'm gonna say the Japanese temple.
Okay.
Because I did that entirely by myself. That was the first kind of larger thing that I did entirely by myself. I actually asked Austin not to help me. I said, it doesn't matter how upset I am or if I'm crying at your feet, don't help me, I said. And I was working on it at a time of a lot of personal change and a lot of just it was a hard time for me. So I didn't know on two levels. I didn't know if I could finish. I didn't know if I had sort of the emotional capacity to finish. One level, and the other level was I didn't trust myself to have the skill to build it. So it was this awesome thing that I overcame, and finished it. I'm really, really proud of it. I'm really, really proud of myself because it was, it was new and different and big, and it was a real challenge.
Indeed. Yeah. It looked great too. I mean, you really thought a lot of concepts, and we'll talk about it as we see it.
Okay.
Which one was that you was most satisfied with? You had your most difficult, but now which one you most satisfied with?
I think I have to say Monorail City.
Okay.
Again, it was, I feel like for a work that Austin and I both worked on, it was the one where I had the most input. And not that I had more than him, but just compared to him, if that makes sense. He was kind of a major designer on Metal Beards and some of the other stuff we did.
Okay.
I actually I think some people didn't get that mock, but I love it. There just were so many cool things about it.
Yeah, it was a good like steampunkish feel to it,
Yeah. I mean, we were definitely going for that cyberpunk, Fifth Element or Blade Runner, that real dystopian kind of future thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, and we'll talk about it. We'll probably talk about it in depth because I couldn't choose just one picture, so I ended up getting them all. So, so do you have any hobbies outside of Lego that you may bring over into your mocks?
I don't. That would be. I mean, probably not. Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, probably not. It would be weird.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, like, I don't know, maybe you're an avid reader and
I'm an avid reader for sure. Yeah, but that would be hard. I do sometimes read science fiction, so I don't know, maybe something after that. But I also, one of my favorite things to like watch on TV is a crime drama or British crime drama, and then that's just all. That would be creepy in Lego. I would scare the little kids.
Man, scare them, huh? Okay. So now, has your love for Lego ever helped you persevere through a difficult situation? If it did, do you care to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I was saying, I was going through a really hard time when I was working on the Japanese temple, and I think it kind of mirrored my life, what was going on in my life in a way. Like I guess I'll just very lightly tell you that I got separated. So I'm actually heading towards a divorce here. And I was married or together with this person for 32 years. So for that to end was just very traumatic and a just drastic change. So I feel like building the temple where I didn't really know how to do it or how I was going to do it, and I had to figure it out on my own, was exactly what was happening in my life. I didn't really know what was going to happen, and I really had to do it on my own. And so yeah, they kind of mirrored each other, and yeah, I've come out the other side on both sides in a good place. So yeah,
good deal. So now, what was your most memorable interaction you had regarding your Lego hobby?
Most memorable? Probably winning the best of show at BrickCon.
Nice.
From Seattle.
Which project was that?
That was on Metalbeards. That was a project between Austin and I, and it just like BrickCon, that it's one of the big ones. I mean, I think on par with some of the ones maybe back east or Midwest where, you strive to make a mark there. And so to win best in show and be on that plaque with the names that were on that plaque that's probably so far one of the most memorable events.
That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So it's obviously you build with your significant other, which is your son. Yeah. What do you take away from that relationship?
Well, it's interesting because we started building when he was in high school still, and we built those giant mocks, and so we spent a lot of time together. And for the most part, I feel like we always get along pretty well. He didn't have the like rebellious teenager thing so much. I kind of told him the other day I thought he was having it now as a 20-year-old. He didn't have it as a teenager, but anyway.
Right.
It made what it's done for me is made me realize that like I have to view him as an older person. He has to view me not as his mother. So it has changed our relationship, I think, in that way. And it's also been challenging because we both have really strong opinions and strong personalities, and we definitely do not always agree. And so, we've had lots of arguments over bills and things like that. So it's all a growing process. I mean, I think the nice thing is because he's my son, we'll always love each other, and we're always going to come back to that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Good answers. All right, folks, this is the second half of On the Icebox. I'm your boy, Iceberg Bricks. My guest today is Pamela Henry, and we're going to go into the mind of Pamela, right? like I said, I was just, I was just dumbfounded, like just looking at these photos and just knowing that, I remember seeing that on Instagram. That was one of my favorite marks. So I remember seeing that on Beyond the Brick. Yeah. And it's like, wow, this is actually a person. I met that person. That's how I'm like, oh, I didn't get to say, well, I lost, I what they say, you blew your shot. I blew my shot, folks.
Oh, no.
The person was standing right in front of me and I didn't know. So, all right, let's check out, see what Pam has. This is the second half of On the Icebox. I'm Iceberg Bricks. Our guest is Pamela Henry, and we are going to dive deep. Here we go. So I kind of had to start with the simplest and to the magnificent bang. So even though I say the simplest, this doesn't look that simple. Tell us about it.
Well, so this was something, what I was talking about earlier, going through a lot of stuff. One of the things I started to do was draw mandalas. And one day I had an idea. I was like, wait, I'm going to try to make a mandala out of land. And so that's what I was trying to do. And if you look more in the center, you can see it has sort of a mandala-ish feel to it. But the farther out I got farther and farther away from it. And so then I just became more like, I don't know. I just had a lot of fun working on this and using, different tiles and different elements and trying to make it be picturesque. And I titled it, I want to be a mandala when I grow up, because it kind of got away from me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of almost more like an abstract art piece, but
okay.
Yeah, that was just sometimes in Lego you just want to do it just to do it, just to see what's going to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like art, this is a real piece of art. It is. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool. Tell us about this right here.
So that is one of the oldest buildings in New Orleans. It's called Jean Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop. It's now a bar.
Okay.
But I guess in the 1700s, I don't know, maybe even the 1600s. I don't know the exact time period. It was a blacksmith shop. It's right there on Bourbon Street, or it's at the end of Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And I was just there and I was fascinated with it. I actually pulled this photo off of the internet, and it's a photo of the building before they fixed it up. Because I think since then they have fixed it up. But when I visited the building, it didn't have any power. Mm-hmm. It was basically, I think, almost in its original state. I mean, it really honestly looked like it was falling down. And I just thought it was so cool. So I wanted to recreate it. So I did give you, there it is. So that was one of the, that's probably one of the first things I did on my own, was to try to recreate that building.
Okay.
And again, I was like, Austin, don't help me. I'm going to figure this out.
Right.
And so that was a lot of fun. Okay. I had to. It's not like the scale that I was trying to build in was not that big, so it was hard to recreate some of it. But I was trying to recreate like those the doors that are like, I don't know. I'm trying to look at it.
Shutter doors and all that.
The shutter doors, right? Yeah. You can see that most of the plaster had come off the building, so I was trying to do that. The change of there was some plaster and there was brick and building the roof, and so that's and there's Jim.
So do you find that it's a little bit easier to make mosaics than an actual 3D build, or is it vice versa?
I think it's different. I think it's definitely very different. I had a lot of fun with making that one, and it's from a very iconic photograph, and people really gravitated towards it. I'll tell you one thing is I've had this up in my house at different times, and I swear to you, his eyes follow you around the room.
Yeah, he's got, very piercing eyes, dude. They do.
A little bit creepy.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah. I think, and
I mean,
you hold it's obviously large, so.
Yeah. I'm actually really glad that I made that because I did that mosaic first in my Japanese temple. It was so much easier for me to do the water because I already had that experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about this build you got here.
Okay, so that is every year at Bricks Cascades, there was a group that would do what was it called? Brass. They're gonna kill me for not remembering. Cyberpunk City.
Okay.
Streets of Brass. I think it's called Streets of Brass. And so it's a pattern, it's a collective build, and you have to build on that 16 by 16 plate. So
okay.
I just decided one year that I was going to make a building for it, and it was a dynamite store. So I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't take a lot of photographs of it, so I feel like you can't see the detail. There was a guy that was hanging out the window. He was kind of screaming, and there was dynamite all over, and this was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun for me.
That's what the build's supposed to be about. It's like a lot of fun stuff. Yeah.
That's another one. That's actually I did this one first. That's another one I did for Streets of Brass, which was it was a corner. It was supposed to be like an old Western corner saloon, but it was actually an opium den, and it was called Happy Palace Opium Den. And I took it to BrickCon in Seattle, and I actually. I registered it like that, and I thought, are they going to let me? Are they going to let me say that? Right. But they did, which is kind of funny.
That's kind of funny, yeah.
So I had a lot of fun with that one too, because that was right after the little 1x4 wooden tile came out in the Angry Birds set. Right. So I took a whole bunch of them. So I had it all over that thing, and it had a wooden walkway, and both of those were just really a lot of fun for me. That's why I did them.
Yeah, that's what build's supposed to be like. Fun. Like you're supposed to have fun and stuff. So this is the layout, right? This is your Lego room layout.
Yeah, this is our Lego room. One of the reasons why we did not have a big build in this past season of conventions is because we spent all last summer getting this together. It took us almost, we didn't work on it nonstop, just off and on for about 2 years. We sorted a large percentage of our Lego. And so we moved all these racks in here and filled all the drawers. And it's so satisfying.
Yeah, I'll get there.
So satisfying to pull open a drawer and have it be all clean and sorted. And
yeah, I'll get there one day. My stuff ain't there yet.
Yeah. Oh, hey. You wouldn't believe the way we built Monorail City. It was a nightmare, and we just said never again.
Right.
Never again. Yeah.
You spend most of your time looking for pieces that so I think I need to kick it in gear now. Yeah. Yeah. So look, I'm a big fan of Asian architecture, right? And and I say that I haven't even attempted to do one in Lego yet, and I want to, but it has to be perfect. And I'm trying to pick the right one to do it, because I don't want to do one that everybody did already.
Yeah.
So I haven't yet. But you actually not only you built this thing, but you even with as far as creating this water scene. Now this is crazy, folks. Look at this. You see the real picture of what of the inspiration she's building right here, right? And what are we looking at exactly?
So that whole complex, that's in Kyoto, Japan, and I apologize profusely for mispronouncing anything, but I believe it's Byadoin is the whole temple complex. That main building right there is called the Phoenix Hall.
Okay.
The reflecting pond, which is down in front of it, is called Ajiki Reflecting Pond.
Right.
And, I was there in 2019. I was in Japan, and I went to a lot of temples. This one just really struck me, especially with the reflecting pond. Because it's a 1,000-year-old building, and so to imagine that 1,000 years ago these monks said, not only are we going to build this beautiful hall, but we're going to dig and put a pond in front of it so that at any time of the day there's going to be this amazing reflection. Right. And it's still there, and it still does it, and it just really kind of blew my mind. I loved it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go to Bricks Cascade, and the AFOL days before the public comes in, is something great because you get to know some of the builders and everything, right? And so I'm walking around. This is before they really gave us what they gave us. And they gave like the Lego Masters this little tiny brick. Hey, put this on your favorite build, and and I already had my eye on this before they even gave that to me. And because the simple fact that you even did the details, like details is everything, to me, details is everything. So not only you got the detailing in the actual mock, but this mock can go either two ways here. And I say that you got the actual mock itself, like the 3D version, but then you also got this mosaic that, this reflection pond. Mm-hmm. So, you can kind of, split this thing into two different categories.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to thank you again for giving me your Lego Masters brick because I loved it. And then the funny thing was, they didn't make any announcements. So when I first saw it,
mm-hmm.
I didn't really know what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I came back to the mock after being, at a talk or something.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said, "Oh, there's something on your mock." And I said, "Oh, okay." But like there'd been no
announcement.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. And then also because my mock was in front of some other stuff, mm-hmm. I didn't realize that like you had written your name on the back. So so when I found out what it was, I had no idea who had given it to me.
Right.
Until much later. But anyway, yes, thank you again. I loved it. It was amazing.
Thank you for sharing this with us. This was I think that this was this piece was probably one of the amazing displays in the venue, and had a blast there. Great people, and great mocks like this. Now take us on a workup of this mock because I didn't have any pictures of you starting up. So where'd you start at on this mock?
So I started on the mosaic because, like I said, I had fairly recently done the Jim Morrison one,
mm-hmm.
and just to me, like kind of breaking it down and thinking, where am I going to start? To me, the mosaic seemed way easier to tackle than the building, and so I just sort of put some pieces out, like. The whole mock just breaks into two giant pieces, and it's just straight down the middle between the mosaic and the building. And so I just kind of put some pieces down to make sure that everything was going to line up.
Okay.
And so I started working on the mosaic. One of the things that's interesting about this mosaic, because it was water, I chose to use tiles instead of the plates so that it would be smooth.
Right.
Look like a reflection. But so I hadn't done a lot of like heavy tile work like that. The only problem with it is if you make a mistake, it's very hard to get the tiles back up. You know what I mean? Generally, when you realize you've made a mistake, you're a little way out. So you have to start wherever your closest edge is, and you have to peel back.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So just, for anybody in the future, if you want to do tile mosaic. It's a little tiny bit harder than doing the plates, but I'm so glad I did because I feel like the effect that it made, just was amazing. And
it was a very, very great impact there,
yeah. So I finished the mosaic and I kind of moved it in the other room and sort of forgot about it and tried to start working on the building. And I'm sorry I keep looking over here, but I'm sitting in front of it, so I keep kind of looking over here. So a couple of things happened to me. One was, again, I didn't know how to do a lot of the building style that I knew I needed to use. So I was a little bit, afraid.
Okay.
And then two, I kept kind of starting and stopping because I would get so far and then I'd be like, oh my gosh, I got to order a bunch more pieces because it just, dark red, it is a ubiquitous color, and yet for some particular pieces, it can be a little hard to find some of them.
Yeah.
So I would get so far, and then I'd have to make another order, and I'd have to wait, and then I'd do a little more, and I'd have to wait, and I left the roofing to the last because to me that was the hardest part. And,
I bet.
Yeah. So I think I did all the small roofing first, I want to say.
Okay.
For the big roof, I wanted that one to be the coolest looking one. And so I made a decision to use like a brand new piece that had just come out, that half bow, that half round piece. And it had just come out. So it wasn't that easy to get them. I got my hands on 600 of them.
600. Okay.
Yeah. And just the top part of the roof, not even the back side, just the front side and the two ends. That's all 600.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And so then I was like, okay, well, I can't keep paying. Like I can't necessarily even get that many. I can't keep paying for that. I've got to just kind of do the other roofing in a way that, still kind of mirrors it, still kind of looks good. But,
right.
But I couldn't use that same style. And so it's a lot of hinging. a lot of hinging.
That is awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed that build there. I just couldn't, that's one of the builds you look at it once, you leave, you come back and see something else different, and you come back and you see another, and you just get the story like in so it was just amazing build for me. I definitely enjoyed it looking at it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it got damaged on the way home from Bricks Cascade.
What?
Yeah, I did. It got damaged, and it's been sitting in my garage, and I kind of was ignoring it. And then yesterday I was like, okay, I'm going to put that thing back together, thinking it was going to be really easy. So yeah, I spent a few hours yesterday and another maybe hour or two today, but I did get it all back together. And it's funny because I felt like I had done a lot of the way I designed it. I was just, okay, well, I don't really know how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to figure out how I'm going to do with it with trial and error. And but putting it back together, I realized, this really works.
Yeah.
It came out pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the hardest part with the Asian roofs is, the curves, is trying to get those curves. And, Lego is they're pretty straight.
Oh, yeah. Get them curves, man. Them curves kill you, man. Getting curves worked out. Mathematical geniuses, man, especially with straight angle pieces. And
I know.
Curves. You guys are great. So what's the name of this creation we're looking at?
So this is King Kong Skull Island. This is the very first project that Austin and I worked on together.
Okay.
And it was taken out of Peter Jackson's version of the King Kong story, which I think came out in maybe 2005. What I discovered after we did this, a lot of people at the conventions just did not know what it was. And I guess maybe that a lot of people haven't seen that movie. It's actually a great movie. It's a really, really good movie. Highly recommend it. But anyway, this is a recreation of the island where they kind of have King Kong trapped. And
okay.
I'm really sorry that it's not that great of a photograph. I actually went onto the Bricks Cascade website and just pulled this off of there because I can't find any photographs. But
yeah, we see the scale of it. It's pretty large.
We actually so there was kind of a giant gate system in the movie. In fact, if you go to Universal Studios in Florida now, and they have King Kong ride, you'll see almost exactly what we tried to create, the big gates, and you go through there. And I thought that we did a really good job recreating what was the set in the movie. It was a lot of fun.
So we got here. All right, what's this creation here? Oh, let me go back.
So that is a recreation of Maz Kanata's castle.
Okay.
From The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
And we made that. That was actually kind of a little side project that we did because we had finished the second half of Metalbeard. Metalbeard's castle first, and then we did the theme park, Sea Garden, later. And then we had finished that. We took it to San Francisco, and then we were going to take it to some other shows, but we were done, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we said, well, let's start a little side project. I don't know how we got set on this. So we were going to do this Maz Kanata's castle, but somehow Austin got his hands on a 3D model of the castle that they used in the movie. And so we tried to recreate it as best we could. I actually think that we did a pretty phenomenal job, actually.
Yeah, nice. I mean, the angles and everything on this, it looks great. And the use of colors, is, so you're breaking up monotony, because most people think that castles are just like one color, but you're actually breaking it, breaking the monotony up in just that one color. So you can kind of get the different textures of the castle here. So I think you did real well.
Yeah, thank you. And the that courtyard there with all the flags and the statue of her, that was probably one of my most favorite parts of our mock, because if you see a scene from the movie of that, like we got it spot on. I think we did a very good job. And I don't know, maybe in the other photograph, not this one, but maybe the other one you had up.
You say this one here?
Yeah. So see how there's a tower? So in the movie, the First Order starts attacking the building, and the first thing that happens is that the tower gets hit.
Okay.
And so, I don't know, you can't necessarily tell, but we actually did this whole thing where it was kind of all broken up, and we had lights in there.
Yeah.
Little LED lights in there, and we had it set so that it kind of fizzled like fire.
Okay.
And we were working on it here in our house. In fact, we might have been in this room, which is kind of dark. And so we're always like, oh my God, this is the greatest effect. Everybody's going to love it. When we get to the convention and when they turn all the lights on, you really couldn't see it. So that was kind of a bummer, but it was a cool effect. It was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. All right. So tell us what we're looking at in here.
So this is just a section of Monorail City.
Okay.
So the story with Monorail City was that it was a very dystopian future, and it was a city that was divided. So one side was kind of where the wealthier people lived, and the other side was where the kind of workers and displaced people who work in the mines lived. And they lived in this tower, the stacked tower of like trailers.
Yeah.
And we kind of got that idea from that.
Was it Ready Player One?
Yes, Ready Player One.
Yep.
I'm glad you have a better memory than me. So we got the idea from that. And we didn't do it exactly, but we just loved the idea of, that kind of stacked universe. And we used that corrugated panel piece, and it was so much fun. I actually built the majority of those trailers, and it just was really a lot of fun, like using the different colors and then also trying to make them look, a little old, a little funky, because again, it wasn't people that had a lot of money. It was people that were a little more desperate, just to have somewhere to eat. So that's what that is right there.
Okay, good deal. So then we're gonna switch projects real quick. We're gonna get back to that. I
had to share this picture with you because that is the base level of Metalbeard's castle.
Wow.
And we just had no idea what we were doing. That's
the kitchen behind it?
That's my kitchen. That thing took up the entire kitchen for like,
wow.
And we did not know what we were doing, and we thought we had to build this just crazy heavy base to be able to hold this castle. So that was all one piece, and it was such a bear to move around, and I just laugh at it now. And I don't. Oh yeah, so there it is. That's us standing next to it, and you can see the whole bottom level is what was sitting in the kitchen there.
Right. Wow, and that thing it is massive. Not pretty, but it is massive. I could just imagine the that it took right up there in your kitchen, and that's crazy, folks, because the sink is right there. You see the sink right there, and then you can't see the rest of the kitchen other than over top of that thing.
Yeah. No, it took up a large. It's funny when you switch to that picture, it makes it look so small, but the castle was like over 5 feet tall.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it had to be. That's just crazy. Look at all this rock work that's into this.
Yeah. So that was where we started. We started on that island. Just, all gray slopes.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, you got the gray slopes. You got a couple white slopes down here, or the clear stuff here, and then you got another technique going on here, another different pattern going on with the water, and then you get into the castle, and then you got more greebling and all that steampunk stuff. It's a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah. So the backstory with that one is remember the character from the Lego movie Pirate Metalbeard?
Right.
So he comes into the story in his ship, right, and he kind of saves the day, and then he just disappears.
Right. Where does he go? And nobody knows.
No, what happened to him?
Right.
And Austin and I were just like, we just thought he was the greatest character. We loved him, and we just were like, we decided that we had to know where he went, and what we decided was that he lived in this giant steampunk castle out on an island in the middle of the ocean, which is how he was able to come in his boat and rescue everybody.
Right. And see, I like the fact that his castle looks like a boat. It looks like
we were very influenced by the sea cow, the Lego mock that they put out the boat. So if you look at the very top of the castle, it actually has the mat, like it looks like a boat.
Looks like a boat. Yeah, it's got the mast on it. Yep. Yeah. I noticed that. Yep.
But there just was we took so much went into this. So the photo you just put up, that's actually a little mobile thing that I made. That was just one of his cars, and it's like a trike, like a cyberpunk like motorcycle trike.
Right. Yeah.
It also, has like the balloon in the propeller, so it actually flies too.
Right. And I did pick up on that you had a lot of little tiny vehicles inside of
we did
like it was a lot of little vehicles inside.
Yeah, one of my favorite things, I think I gave you a picture, is Austin made this little submersible that was hanging off the dock. Well, that's the merry-go-round.
Okay.
But that merry-go-round got made because we went to the Lego store one day, and they a new set had come out with that balloon piece. That piece that's straight and then it kind of has a hook.
Yeah.
And I saw the set and I just had this aha moment of like, oh my gosh, we're gonna make a merry-go-round and we're gonna make it out of those pieces, and they're all gonna go up and down and the whole thing's gonna spin around. And so yeah, we bought a bunch of those sets, and I can't really I have to say that was like my idea. I just had no idea how to build it. Austin came to the rescue. And we kind of worked on the design together, but he's the one that figured out when it was running. And I have to say it broke down a lot, but when it was running, the whole thing went around like a merry-go-round, and each balloon individually went up and down like a merry-go-round.
That is cool. That is very cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And so the whole thing, when the two parts were together, was 14 feet long. And so there was a lot of water. And so at some point we just decided, well, let's just put a bunch of crazy boats on the water. So that's just one.
That's just one of many. Yes, one of many of them in here. Yeah. I think that like each boat has different character to it.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's the submersible. That's the one I was telling. I loved that thing.
Yeah.
It was so cool. I mean, I think we still have it somewhere, but yeah, that was so much fun.
It was just so many details to this thing, and so many, and you had a lot of pictures. It was just hard to choose.
No, I
couldn't choose.
It's really hard to like, if a person never saw this in person, it's really hard to explain to them. Like, the castle had 28 different moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just on the castle.
And that's the hard thing about steampunk. Not only it has to be eye popping, but like pieces like you have here, it has to be moving. Like, they have to be moving.
Yeah. Well, the really crazy thing about is that when we started this, that Lego, the sets didn't have that many gold and silver pieces at that time. Because I remember, like, we would do a little bit, and then we'd say, oh, this is what we want to do in the next part, but we got to get a hold of some more gold pieces, and we'd go to Bricklink, and we'd find somebody, a seller who had them, and they'd have like 10.
Oh, wow.
And we left out everything about this mock. We left out so bad, because not only did the Lego store start like on the wall, the pick-a-brick wall, start carrying almost the entire time we were working on it. They had the dark brown 2x4s, which we bought 1 million of them. They had the dark gray slopes, which we bought 1 million of those. And there was a couple of other pieces. But not only that, but right sort of at the start of making the castle, I think they were called Sky Pilots.
Okay.
Sets. They were very steampunk. They came out for a little while. They were very steampunk. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh my gosh, now we can just get tons of gold and silver pieces. This is amazing. So that was a little windmill that was off to the side, and that was moving.
And see, this is what I love about that build, is that not only you have this immaculate castle, right, and all the things that move, that's surrounding it, you have these little offside builds as well. And like the boats, this windmill you got right here, you got all these little things that makes this build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have to make a disclaimer for anybody who might just be tuning in. My son Austin was definitely the main designer on this mock. I did a ton of work. Believe me, he put me to work, and I did design some things here and there. But I have to give him props. Kid's kind of a Lego genius, really, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you said that. You said that when I met you. I see it. I saw it when it was on. What he brought to Bricks Cascade was just phenomenal. Yeah.
It's like, I've definitely ridden on his coattails, and I'm proud of it. I'll admit it.
And our kids are supposed to be better than us, right? They're supposed to be, because they're supposed to be the better half of us, right?
Yeah. No, he's taught me so much. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and it's really been a journey for us. It's been interesting.
Yeah. And no matter which side you look at this thing, you can never get tired of seeing it. Like, I'm seeing some more stuff. Well, I'm looking at another side of this castle, see some more stuff. That's the whole layout right there. That thing is huge. That thing is huge.
Yeah, it was 14 feet long. In fact, we never had like the entire thing together at our house, because we didn't have
you wouldn't have enough room for that. Yeah, you can say goodbye to your living room.
Yeah, that was quite long enough for that.
Wow. That was a sight to behold.
That photograph was taken by a fellow AFOL, Patrick Biggs. Actually, I love that photograph.
Yeah, it captured it all.
Yeah, he took it early in the morning or something, I think, and no one was there. And yeah, it's an awesome photograph.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself, even though that was the only brick show I went to this year because of COVID. But I enjoyed myself at Bricks Cascade, and Bob Day. The boardings who opened their home up for me for the week. It was just amazing. The people in Portland was just amazing. Now,
I think Bricks Cascade has always had a very friendly vibe.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the nice things about it.
Oh yes, for sure. So now this was one of my favorite builds. I saw it on Instagram. I saw it on Beyond the Brick, and I'm like, man, this thing had me wanting to get into cyberpunk, and the departmental building that you got right here, like each building doesn't look the same, and they stacked on top of each other, and that apocalyptic, futuristic feel to it. So I tried my hand at it, trying to do a futuristic build, looking at this one here, and it failed.
Oh,
so I got to, I've gotten a little bit better since. I had to, because I'm in the middle of a collab one right now. So I had to step it up.
Yeah, this is us in Seattle. I think this is the first place that we took Monorail City. I'll give you a little bit of background on that one. So, Austin and I discovered Monorail, the Lego Monorail, very late, because I was too old to have had it as a kid, and he was too young. I don't remember. It was probably a Bricks Cascade convention where we saw a monorail set for the first time, and we just fell in love.
Right.
And so we were like, we got to get a hold of these. We got to get our hands on some of these monorail sets, because they're never going to make them again, right? That's what they always say. And
then they make them. Then they come back later, like 20 years later. Hey, look what's back.
I know, it probably will. But anyway, we just kind of went crazy with it. We got really lucky one day. We walked into a Bricks and Minifig, and they had two. Someone had brought in two to sell to the store, and so I bought them both. And we just kind of started to have this collection, and we're like, okay, we got to do a big mock built around the monorails, because we have them and we love them, and what can we do, know? And so we just kind of started coming up with this idea in our mind of this, cool, crazy cyberpunk city built with it, and the trains are going all through it, and the idea you brought up earlier, where a building starts out one thing at the bottom and then changes, like that's that's definitely what we tried to do, because the idea was that the very bottom level of the city was probably mainly built in like the 20th century, and so they just look like normal buildings, Right. But then as things kind of got crazier and the future got more dystopian, they just kept building up and up, and so of course, like the styles would just always change and do something different. And one of the ways we I think effectively did that is, I would start a building, I would do the bottom, he would start a building, he would do the bottom, but then we would trade. Okay. So then the next level, you know what I'm saying? Like, so then you're really getting a completely different style. Right. And so that was one of the ways that we worked on those buildings, which was a lot of fun. That's pretty cool. Funny thing is, somebody saw this and sent me some photographs from a city in China. And it looked just like this. Like, I'm not kidding you. It looked just like this. That's crazy. Yeah, it blew my mind. It was just modern day city. Right. Wow. Yeah, like you said, like the bottom looks totally different from the top, and as you go up, it's just different. And it's definitely like, it's like, I don't want to say the Bible, but it's definitely a how-to. If you wanted to build a dystopian city, this is definitely a how-to. Oh, well, that's very kind of you to say. It definitely is. It's funny because there's things I look at it now and think, okay, I would do that a little. There's some things I would do a little differently, but yeah, I think we tried really hard to stay to like a more neutral color palette. That makes sense. I mean, it's hard with Lego because you can't just make everything gray. But we just did try to like tone it down, and something would generally, like the building would be pretty neutral, but the trim might be a little bit brighter color or something. Right. But we had a lot of fun Easter eggs in this thing too, because like what we're looking at right there on the corner. I think one of the levels of that was the police station, and Austin made the address like 1138, so he was kind of referencing Big George Lucas. Okay. So we just did a lot of fun stuff like that. I think I probably gave you a bunch of photographs of that, because that was so the bottom level of that was supposed to be like an old apartment building. Okay. Just to the side of that, it's kind of all bombed out, and then the idea was that it's a black market.
Okay.
So they just kept building on top of it, and there's a big black market in there, and I designed most of that. I spent so much time on it, but then in the end, really, when we stuck it into the road, I think you just lose a lot of the detail, that I had put in there and spent a lot of time. But like right at the front there was like a butcher, and he's covered in blood, and there's just meat all over the place, and he's holding fingers, and we had a lot of fun with that kind of stuff.
That's very cool. Very cool. I like how you got the the clotheslines, hanging all through the city.
Oh, yeah, so that's the bottom of the stacks. Yeah, so that's where all the people live. And so that was like, well, what would be, if all these people are living here, well, they're going to have laundry. And, and the idea with the stacks was you can follow trails. Like we did ladders, and we did them so that you could, like if you were an actual Lego minifigure, you could have climbed, to the top of the stacks of buildings, and then we tried to make like little areas where people maybe hung out. There was more at the top, there was a bar, and they're just for different little, there was a lot of detail on this one too.
Oh yeah, indeed. That thing is it takes up a lot of real estate, and it looks so good, and you get, and here's the things that you would never get. You would never get tired looking at this, because one, you got the moving monorail that goes through each part of this city, and so it kind of forces you to look at everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's funny because monorail trains run on the 9-volt batteries, and they run, and then they die. Yeah. So it's like it'll be going fine, and then you turn around, and then you're back, and you're like, oh. A train is stopped. Like, this was this constant thing, especially when we were trying to keep them running for 4 days at a convention. And I know it's terrible for the environment, but we just kept having to use these 9-volt batteries. And but another fun thing, now that you've put up that photograph on that end, so one of the iterations of the monorail had that thing where it picked up the package. So it picked up the package, and it kind of went around, but it never had the function to. Oh no, wait, no, I think it dropped off the package. Excuse me, it dropped off the package.
Okay.
It didn't have the function to pick it back up. So one of the things that Austin, when we made this, he was just like bound and determined that he was going to get that function working. That the train could back in and drop it off, go do its whole loop, come back and pick it back up again.
Okay.
And, he just kept working on it, and he got it to work, and it was awesome. It was really cool.
Yeah, he was determined. Yeah,
he was.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a very determined kid.
Yeah, and I tell you, even putting this together, like right here, what I'm looking at, you guys have quite a collection of bricks.
Yeah,
a lot going on in this palette. It's just a lot going on in this palette.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, a huge part of all the underneath of this is made from metal beards. Like we had metal beards all broken apart out in the garage, and we would just go out there and break chunks off of it. And come in and build our framework and stuff.
Nice.
So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, you gotta scrap the last build to build the next one. So it happens. It does.
Yeah.
Wow, this thing here is and it's funny because I'm sitting in front of the creators and never even knew, because you see these photos all over Instagram and Beyond the Brick, and you see it on other people's Instagram pages and stuff. It's like, man, this is amazing. And the woman and the kid was right in my face, folks. They were right in my face, and I never even knew.
That's okay. It's all good.
I love how they incorporated this signage right here, so you really get the Asian theme on here, and you're not just using just the stickers. That's just too easy. So you're actually using the bricks and bending them the way that you can to actually make the signage. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, well, what's funny is that the elementary school that Austin went to, he actually took Japanese, so he knew a lot of the kanji characters. So The other fun thing, if you go just below the sign with the Asian writing, he did graffiti right there.
I see A&P.
That's A&P
Mm-hmm.
in Lego graffiti. So
that's cool. That's very cool.
Sorry, I'm not sure how to enlarge this on my computer, so these are so tiny for me.
So it looks like it's the start of maybe the monorail.
Yeah. So that is the mine. So that went along with the whole. Like I said, we always had a storyline with our mocks, and this storyline was that this corporation discovered this amazing substance that was going to like save the universe or whatever, and. So there was a mine there, and so all these displaced people lived there, and they worked there, and so that's why the monorails were coming in for the packages, because they were moving out.
Mm-hmm.
I want to call it the spice, like Dune, but I mean, we just called it the stuff.
Yeah.
So that was the idea: is that the trains were moving it out of the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Wow.
That's kind of a backside view. So you can see back behind the stacks that there was kind of a little farm back there for the people that lived there. Yeah.
Very cool. I love how each trailer is definitely different. You could have made the same. You could have made them same and got it, and it still would have probably had this, somewhat of a good effect on it. But you made each one different. Here's more signage here, more technique there. I love it. And
that one was all lit up too, like that line of studs, like the lights would, like an actual cinema sign. So that was a lot of fun. We were very influenced here by some scenes out of Blade Runner. I think that there's another photograph where you can see. We actually had like a Star Wars shop. But what I'm really thinking of is that there's in Blade Runner, the Harrison Ford character goes to this noodle shop down on the street. And so we tried to recreate, we had like a little noodle shop up there on one of the levels of the city. And that's just that's one of my favorite photographs, because that just looks down the road.
Down the road, you can see everything to the right and to the left. You're actually in the city,
and when you see it, it does feel very city-like. Like that.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I liked about it.
That's very cool. Very, very amazing work. You and your son. Tell him I said hello. And I'm a big fan. I am. I love the cyberpunk stuff. I love the futuristic stuff. And that is very, very good inspiration. I have a long way to go before I even step in the ring.
That's not true. That's not true.
Miles ahead. So
I like I told you the other day, I loved your guys' Egyptian theme park. It maybe didn't have the giant roller coaster or whatever, but like to me, it was the most inventive theme. That's what I loved about it. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. It was, I loved it.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun. That stuff is fun. That stuff is fun. Going to brick shows is fun, and learning about, different builders and stuff. That's fun for me,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we knew Boone and Mark. So when the Lego Masters show started, I just felt like, well, we're just going to root for them. Obviously they're friends.
Yeah, you got to. That's
actually, like, I mean, I was rooting for them, of course, but it was really hard not to fall in love with the rest of you, and not to love like what you guys were doing, and it was every time somebody got kicked off, I cried, like every single time. So they had actually interviewed us to be on the show. But it just didn't. It really, like, Austin's in college now, and it just really, really messed with his college schedule. So when they were like, well, you got to tell us whether or not you really want to be in the running, we kind of had to say, I don't think we can do it.
Yeah. I mean, when you get to that, it's like, you don't want to mess up the kid's school. School is important, not some TV show, and the TV show is always going to be there, but kid gotta go to school,
Yeah. No, I was really proud of him. I actually let him make the decision. For me, like, it didn't. It wasn't going to affect me in the same way. And for him, he would have had to take not just one semester off school, but an entire year.
Yeah, and that is back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, you get to make the decision. Like, it's up to you, and I'm going to go with whatever you say. And so, actually, like, I was really proud of him. I was very impressed that a 19-year-old would choose school over being on TV.
Yeah. Made the right decision, and that's good. Kudos to him. That let you know that he's gear. You know, he's goal minded, and you know he's got goals set, and he sticks to them. And
he does. Yeah,
you got to admire that. You know that show, and he know that show is going to be there, and it'll be ready for him when y'all two ready to go. Mm-hmm. You know, so that brings me to my final question. I usually ask some type of life reflective question. So it's going to come a time that you know you're not going to be there physically for your kids, right? What kind of legacy, what kind of values you want to leave to your son? This whole Lego thing in life.
I think that one of the things I think when you work at the convention mock level, it takes planning and it takes commitment to build and make large scale mocks. So I guess the thing that I love that it does for him is that he's learning how to do that, and or maybe he's already learned how to do it because I've already watched him take it and utilize it and do it at school and make amazing things where he's going. So just aside from that, just in life in general, just that honesty and being there for your fellow man and woman, and just concentrating on the good. I mean, there's so much craziness going on in this world. There's so much negativity, but if you just look a little bit past that, you can just always find beauty. You can always find beauty.
Good deal. Good words. I want to thank you for, blessing me with your presence on the Icebox here. Now I know who you are.
Yeah, that was fun. It was very exciting. I was thrilled to be asked. Yeah.
Absolutely. You and your son, you are definitely a dynamic duo, and I look forward to the next Brooks Cascade and the next creations that you two make.
Yeah, I look forward to let's keep our fingers crossed for live conventions again.
Yes.
I think we really lucked out with that one in March. Boy, it was just under the wire.
Just under the wire, yeah. Was it? Yeah.
So that was good. But yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing more of your stuff and what you're doing.
Thank you. All right, folks, that is going to conclude our session of On the Icebox. Our guest was Pamela Henry, the creator of Monorail City and much more. You guys need to rewind this thing and play it again. Or better yet, follow Pam. She's on Facebook, on Instagram. All her stuff will be down in the description. So you guys can follow her and definitely look at her montage of Instagram pictures. It's just crazy. I was a big fan and didn't even know who I was meeting. It's funny. Until next time, folks, I bid you love, peace, and Lego. Have a good night.